In the last episode, we delved into the manipulative tactics often employed by mama's boys. We explored the psychology behind their actions and how these behaviors can impact those around them. This time, we're going to equip you with the knowledge and tools to effectively deal with a mama's boy, whether it's for self-preservation or simply to better understand the dynamics at play. All right, so let's talk boundaries. It's absolutely crucial to establish clear boundaries in any relationship, especially one with a mama's boy. They need to know, without a doubt, what you consider acceptable behavior and what's going to earn a swift response. Now, if you expect him to share responsibilities, you've got to be upfront about it. Don't beat around the bush. A written contract, so to speak, outlining those responsibilities can be surprisingly effective. Think of it as a roadmap for your relationship, clearly marking who's responsible for what. For instance, who handles which chores? Who manages finances? Who takes care of the car? These might seem mundane, but unspoken expectations can fester and lead to resentment down the road. This contract can be a collaborative effort, something you create together. He gets a say too. The point is, it makes everything explicit, minimizing the chances of misunderstandings and passive-aggressive behavior, the "I forgot" or "you never said" type of thing. This contract can evolve as your relationship does. Be flexible, of course, but ensure it remains within reasonable limits. There should also be clear and swift consequences for violating the agreed-upon terms. Okay, so consequences. They're not about punishment, they're about accountability. When a boundary is crossed, there needs to be a clear and consistent response. This isn't about being mean, it's about protecting yourself and the health of the relationship. Think of it like training a puppy, right? If you don't correct bad behavior consistently, the puppy won't learn. Same goes for relationships. If there are no consequences for crossing a line, the behavior will continue. For example, if the contract says he's responsible for cooking dinner on Tuesdays and he forgets or makes excuses, then a consequence might be that he has to order takeout for both of you. Or maybe he takes over your cooking night later in the week. The key is to follow through every single time. Consistency is crucial. Empty threats will only weaken your position and encourage further boundary pushing. Remember, this isn't about control, it's about respect and maintaining a healthy dynamic. Now, let's talk about excuses and blame. Mama's boys are often masters of deflection. They've learned to avoid responsibility by blaming others or coming up with elaborate excuses. It's like a superpower they've honed over years of practice. So, how do you deal with this? First, don't get sucked into the blame game. It's a trap. Just because he says you're overreacting or misinterpreting or nagging doesn't make it true. Remember your own reality, stick to the facts, and don't internalize his accusations. For example, if he constantly cancels plans with you because his mother needs something and then blames you for being upset, don't fall for it. Calmly reiterate your feelings and expectations. You could say something like, "I understand your mom needs help, but this is the third time we've had to cancel our plans. It makes me feel like our time together isn't a priority." See, you're not blaming him, you're simply stating how his actions make you feel. This takes the focus off blame and puts it on the impact of his behavior. As for excuses, well, they're just that, excuses. Acknowledge them, but don't let them derail you. "I hear that you're tired, but we agreed that you'd handle this, and I need you to follow through." Be firm, but fair. And remember, actions speak louder than words. If his excuses consistently lead to broken agreements, it might be time to reevaluate the relationship. When you're dealing with a mama's boy, it's easy to feel like you're fighting a lonely battle. Trust me, you're not alone. One of the best things you can do is reach out to your support system. Talk to your friends, your family, people who care about you and can offer an objective perspective. They can help you see things more clearly, validate your feelings, and remind you of your worth. It's like having a team of advisors in your corner. They can offer advice, help you strategize, and just be there to listen when you need to vent. Sometimes, just talking things out can make a world of difference. And speaking of battles, you can't win them all. In fact, you shouldn't try to. Pick your battles wisely. What's truly important to you? Focus on those issues and let the smaller stuff slide. It's not about giving in, it's about preserving your energy and sanity. Self-care is crucial in these situations. Make sure you're taking care of yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally. Exercise, Eat well, spend time doing things you enjoy, and set boundaries with the mama's boy to protect your own well-being. Remember, you deserve to be happy and healthy. Now, let's talk about taking control, because ultimately, you are the one in charge of your life and your happiness. You have the power to make choices, even if it doesn't always feel that way. When it comes to a relationship with a mama's boy, you essentially have three options. First, you can accept the situation as it is. This doesn't mean you have to like it, but it means you acknowledge that you can't change him. It's about finding ways to cope and setting boundaries to protect yourself. This might involve adjusting your expectations and focusing on what you can control, which is your own reactions and behaviors. Second, you can try to change the relationship. This requires his cooperation, so it's important to have an honest conversation about your needs and concerns. Be willing to compromise, but also be firm about your boundaries. If he's willing to put in the effort, then there's a chance things can improve. However, be prepared for the possibility that he might not be willing or able to change. And finally, if neither accepting nor changing the relationship works for you, you can always choose to leave. This might be the hardest choice, but it can also be the most empowering. Sometimes, walking away is the best thing you can do for yourself. It's about prioritizing your well-being and creating a life that makes you happy. Remember, you deserve to be in a healthy and fulfilling relationship. If this one isn't providing that, you have the right to move on. So, to wrap things up, remember these key takeaways. Setting clear boundaries is crucial. You gotta know what you're willing to tolerate and what you're not. And be consistent with those boundaries. Don't give in sometimes and then enforce them other times. That just confuses everyone, especially the mama's boy. Also, remember, you can't change him, you can only change how you react to him. And don't fall into the trap of blaming yourself. His actions are his responsibility. Think about your own experiences. Have you encountered similar situations? How did you handle them? What could you have done differently? In our next episode, I will give you a quiz for you to answer to know if you are or you are in a relationship with a mama's boy. You don't want to miss the last episode of our Mama's Boy series. So, make sure you subscribe. Until then, stay strong and take care of yourself.